Hey everybody, we are live. I'm going to try to do this a little more often. I'm trying to get some subscribers, but the question today is, are aliens among us? We know David Grush. He is a alien whistleblower. Hey everybody, we are live. I'm going to try to do this a little more often. I'm trying to get some subscribers, but the question today is, are aliens among us? We know David Rush. The alien. Aliens, are they among us? Alien he testified in front of Congress for like 11
Hey everybody,
hours.
We are live. I'm going to try to do this a little more often. I'm trying to get some subscribers, but the question today is, are aliens among us? We know David Rush.
The alien
he is a alien
testified in front of Congress for like 11
Hey everybody, we are live. I'm going to try to do this a little more often. I'm trying to get some subscribers, but the question today is, are aliens among us? We know David Rush. The alien he is a alien testified in Congress for like Hey everybody, we are live. I'm going to try to do this a little more often. I'm trying to get some subscribers, but the question today is...
Okay, there we go. All right, sorry, I had some feedback.
We're definitely not alone.
Claims that our government has proof of alien life.
Says
we have spacecraft from another species.
We do. Here.
How many?
There's a team.
Quite a number. Some are landed, some are crashed.
Allegations of a secret government program that has hidden the truth, the technology from the world.
There's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral, and it's totally frightening.
From Roswell to the present day.
So this whole case got me super interested in Roswell recently. I started going online and researching Roswell, which many believe is a government program called Project Mogul, which very possibly could be the case.
You're deluding yourself?
We don't know that
a hero.
I'm a patriot, and I believe in truth to power in this. We're talking about the biggest secret in human history.
We are not alone. The UFO whistleblower speaks.
I think I fixed the issue that was going on.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Vargas, here to bring you a News Nation exclusive interview with a man we're calling the UFO whistleblower. David Grush is a career intelligence official who this week is making some bombshell claims of a U.S. government cover-up going back nearly a century, shedding light, he says, on that existential question.
So if they
Are we alone?
Hostile,
News Nation has confirmed David Grush's credentials and resume. We have not seen or verified the alleged proof he says he's provided to investigators. But we want you to hear his story, so you can decide for yourself. Mr. Grush sat down with investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who is reporting for News Nation. Mr. Coulthart is an award-winning journalist and author who has reported for the Australian version of 60 Minutes, as well as other news programs in his home country. What you're about to see is part of their conversation.
So I did watch
work with the UAP task force, his background, and his service to this country,
and there was little highlights.
Secret
but this is supposed to be the full 40
about
minutes.
which
I really want to hear all
the world
of this.
Needs to know.
I do know that he testified
For
in front of
decades, the
Congress for
UFO
like
question has
7
been
or 11
consigned
hours,
to the realm of
and
speculation.
There's a lot more
but in recent
information that we
years,
have not
serious
gotten.
people
There's
have
a lot of
started
questions
taking
that
the
I want to
subject
ask this
seriously.
whistleblower.
You'll see it comes through the top of the screen.
Basically, everything he said was not
Prompted in part by the release
all like
of
secondhand
these
information.
videos purporting
So I'd
to
be
show
interested in hearing more
encounters
stuff
between
about that. So
American naval aviators
a
and
lot
what
of
the
the
Pentagon
evidence of
has
UFO
labeled
sightings that have
unidentified
happened recently,
aerial
and
or
we know that
anomalous
this is a very
phenomena.
popular
Congress
thing
has
going on.
convened
Files
hearings to determine what these UAP are and what threat they might pose.
Fix it?
If
Is that better?
UAP do indeed represent a potential threat to our security, then the capabilities, systems, processes, and sources we use to observe, record, study, or analyze
Again,
these phenomena
this is my first, really the first time going live. I did go live once before, but I'm trying to get the technical things worked out to figure out how to do this the best way. So if any technical glitches, please bear with me.
Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARROW, to investigate and identify what are now hundreds of reported sightings. So far, they have not confirmed any of
many
them to
believe in
constitute
the ancient
proof
alien
of
theory that
alien
the
life.
aliens came back
Officially, the
during
government
old
continues to
times.
state
And the reason why we're even
we
here today is
are
accelerated
indeed
evolution
alone. But
due
now,
to
for the first time,
aliens
a
kind of
former
mingling
member
with
of that
our
official
species,
investigative
kind of
team
allowing
is
that to
speaking
happen.
out, telling a
The
stunning
news clip
story
is much
that
louder
impacts
than me.
every
Okay, let me
person
turn down
on
the
this
news
planet.
clip.
And now you're about to meet that man.
Hopefully that's
for the
a little
very
better.
First time in this
A little better. Just drop the
television
news
interview.
clip feed a bit. Okay, I tried to drop it a little bit. Let's see how that is. So this is the interview.
Maybe start off telling me.
I'm really excited. I've been
and
wanting
who
to
you are.
watch this full
My
interview.
name is David Grush.
Okay, David
I
Grush.
came from a blue-collar family in Pittsburgh.
I want to know a lot about him
Didn't have the
too.
money for
I do
college.
know that he
Always
seems to be
admired people
a
in
genuine
uniform,
person.
and I've always wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself.
He always
And
wanted to be
18
something
years
bigger
ago,
than part of something
I got an
himself.
Air Force
So,
scholarship for physics.
being part of
I
an
originally
alien
commissioned on active duty in the Air
task force to
served 14 years in the Air
investigate
Force.
alien spacecrafts is much bigger than himself. Hopefully, he's not just out there for the attention.
I was
and
getting
he's in there for
promoted
the
to
good
captain
things.
when I was
A little better,
deployed.
yeah.
And you still love your country, don't you?
There we go,
Absolutely.
better. All right.
A career intelligence officer, Grush spent time on the ground in Afghanistan and other places he can't mention before rotating back to Washington.
I was an intel officer for the U.S. for 14 years. My last
And
position.
sorry,
which I
this is my
left
first
in
time
April of
watching it, so I am
2023,
very interested in what this clip is.
I co-led the UAP portfolio for the National Geospatial
So he
Intelligence
co-read
Agency and some of the highest official.
Phenomenon.
Anyone, anything.
I had, based on my formal security clearance and multiple polygraphs, I had the ability to be read into any program that I needed. At one point in time, I was extremely highly cleared.
What conclusion did you come to?
Me a
at the
logo
end
on
of
my
your
hat.
time
Yeah,
in
I
the
don't know.
UAP
I don't
task
like
force?
to push
The
my
UAP
brand
task
as much
forces
as
refused
I do. I do have a
access
logo
to,
on the
a broad
streaming screen
crash
here. I
treatment
think that's
program.
enough. And
When you
again,
say crash
I am
treatment, what
looking
do you
for
mean?
people to subscribe. So if
These
you're
are
not subscribed,
retrieving
it'd
non-human
mean a lot
origin,
if you could click
technical
that
vehicles,
subscribe
you know,
button.
call it spacecraft,
Trying
if you will,
to gather some
non-human.
subscribers.
The US government.
I think I
has
just
been
lost connection
concealing
there for a second.
the
Hopefully it's
existence
back.
on this planet of alien
But we
life.
just got the bombshell that he's saying there's multiple other species,
NHI, like we
that
like to say
came
in
down
our
to Earth.
language.
Why do you say that? Why do you say NHI?
I don't want to
non-human?
necessarily.
And again, I'm getting technical glitches. I apologize for this. I don't know what's going on, if it's my streaming software or my internet. Let me see if I can just fix something real quick. Seems to be the internet says I'm connected, but it's not. Let me refresh this stream where, let's see, 750 in here. Let me just give this a little refresh. Again, apologize for the technical issues. It seems that the stream is back up. I just need to get this.
With
and
pressure,
of course, there's an
there's
advertisement.
a limit to what I can do and still keep employees engaged.
So,
Fortunately, there's Insperity.
22
They
seconds
expand
of
my
some
HR
advertisement.
capabilities exponentially.
Turn that
helping
down.
me
It's kind of annoying.
While offering my employees competitive benefit options. Since I can focus on other priorities, my staff can thrive.
Yes, Dennis says I like proof. Yes, who doesn't like proof? Evidence
With
is what we are
Insperity,
after.
nothing seems
and
impossible.
Proof is really what we need to verify this information. Just because one person says it doesn't mean we can completely believe it. But this is someone who has a reputation of being a good person, and I have a source. And his source said that David Grush is a reputable person.
We like to say in our language.
Why do you say
So
that?
it seems like
Why do you
everything's
say
back
NHI?
now.
I don't want to necessarily denote origin. I don't think we have all the data to say,
So he says we don't have all the data.
A certain location, and I couch it as somebody who studied physics, where Maybe they're coming from a different physical dimension, as described in quantum mechanics.
Physical dimension.
We know there's extra dimensions.
Kyle says the aliens are big
high
pharma.
energy particle collisions, etc. And there's a theoretical.
I imagine if there's aliens that are among us, that they would be part of different corporations, including the big pharma, and maybe they're trying to drug us to be sheep, to get their agenda out there. Let's see, Jacob says extraterrestrials might be jamming the connection. Very possible. We don't want to get this information out.
Non-human intelligence. But he's spoken to enough people directly involved in what he calls the program that he's convinced it's real.
So David
started out as a non-believer.
So David hasn't had any of this firsthand, so it's all secondhand information.
So I have,
but
excuse my
he did work.
Factor. I was very methodical.
Oh, there it is. Dropped an F-bomb.
People who didn't know each other, making sure this wasn't some kind of cover-up of some other program.
He says he pressed to gain direct access to this program.
Double-checked to make sure it's not part of another program. So that's interesting to me because we do know that in the past, there have been many government programs that many people have said they think are alien technology, but then later on we find out it's some secret government mission, which this could be too, because a lot of times the secret government projects, no one's talking to each other. So when people aren't talking to each other, they don't have this information. So some person has some information, another person has another information, and they're not really talking to each other. And so this person thinks, oh, there's some weird metal thing, and the other person's like, okay, it's alien, but really it's just some foreign government spacecraft or something. Boy
Scout or whatever. It just when I saw the kind of wrongdoing I did, I don't want to be 60, 70 years old in the future and have that coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of feeling where I could have made a difference. I did not want to.
So by coming out, he feels like he's making a difference, which is true. If this is true, this is the biggest piece of news. And you got a lot of distractions. You have Donald Trump being indicted right now, which, regardless of what you believe politically, this could be that could be a distraction from the fact that we have aliens among us here on Earth.
You've said that we have the United States has.
See, Jacob say he subscribed. Thank you for subscribing.
Intact
Dennis says possible aliens.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of?
Yes. Again, if aliens are here on Earth and they're part of any groups or corporations, I'm sure that they are part of big think tanks. Could be part of the U.S. government. Again, without having proof, though, we can say these things, but we don't know what the truth is.
I've seen some interesting photos and I've read some very interesting reports.
So David has seen
the specific
photos,
documents, and photos that would prove his claims are still classified.
Okay, but anything that can prove it is classified information. So if we have this classified, let's get it out to the public. I think the public needs to know if aliens are here on Earth. We need to know.
We really ultimately can't prove.
I think it's important.
We provided the proof.
This would be the biggest story of
and the Hill staff, and we went into all
possibly
the
history of Earth.
I have the credentials.
To have other planets
officer
with task force, livable life that are visiting us.
Allegations of aliens and their spacecraft are hard to accept, even coming from a respected insider. Even if you call them NHI and UAP, how could
that says if it's classified, it might be at Mar-a-Lago. It's very true.
And go undetected by
like
the general public.
I kind of talked about, Donald Trump having all those documents in his house of Mar-a-Lago. Then they were captured. I think some were still missing. Apparently, he might have been flushing some of them down the toilet or giving them to other foreign governments. We don't really know, and we don't really have evidence of that.
And you can imagine in 4 and 5D space where what we experience as linear time ends up being a physical dimension in higher dimensional space where if you were living there, you could translate across what we perceive as a linear flow. So there is a possibility that, and this is a theory here, I'm not saying this is 100% the case, but it could be that this is not necessarily extraterrestrial and it's actually coming from a higher dimensional physical space that might be co-located, right here.
What can you tell me about
higher dimensional physical space that could be co-located right here?
It's exotic?
I don't know. It sounds kind of like science fiction.
The very specific properties that I was briefed on, isotopic ratios that would have to be engineered for it to be at those levels, but also just
are we talking about nuclear?
Strange, heavy atomic metal, high up in the periodic table.
Strange atomic metal high in the periodic table.
What the emergent properties are, but there's just a very strange.
So it's metal that we don't understand, a strange mix of elements.
You're absolutely sure that the materials that these craft are made of are clearly not of this earth.
Yeah, they're sophisticatedly engineered, certainly not by humans.
And while Grush says the US has gleaned
some insight it's not by humans, how do we know this?
Use, so much more could be done if academia and the private sector had access.
Is it possible it's a foreign government, a foreign entity making this? Is it possible that
humanity as a whole,
that it's a U.S. agency that's making it, but he's not aware? The U.S. UAP task force is not aware of that. He says a high periodic number.
Novel material science that can people's
how high? Are we talking 101, 102? Higher than that?
Protected and inhibits progress.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth,
do we know if some of the classified documents
the
were
entire American
about Area
public
51?
Has been lied to?
I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated
what's going on in Area 51 either.
Campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is
there's been a lot of books and stuff. It's been a while. Again, my expertise is more into ghosts. Obviously, I don't just investigate ghosts, but also aliens, demons, cryptids. All that sort of thing, and I'm very fascinated with aliens. I myself have seen UFO things that I couldn't identify, and took photos of it. Usually I post it to my social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatnot, but I have not been able to scientifically verify what the UFO or UAP is. A lot of times it is just an airplane or a weather balloon, a drone that seems to look like something that could be an alien spacecraft, but it's hard to really know.
Of dictator Benito Mussolini documented
talking about
numerous
metal
UAP
isotopes and advanced
during
materials.
this time.
Yeah. Again,
this internal memo
there's a lot of
Italian
science or materials that I'm not sure. I'd like to speak to a materials expert on some of these higher number periodic table elements. What kind of some of their properties are that would make them good for like interdimensional space travel. But you'd think that some of these things, so if anyone knows of a materials expert out there that'd like to come on a live stream, again, I'm hoping to grow this live stream to get more people so that I can invite guests on here, like a materials expert or maybe even an alien expert, someone who may have know David Grush personally to talk about this. But again, I mostly am into ghosts. I'm kind of more an expert at ghosts, but this is the biggest news, and a lot of the media is ignoring this story. You go to CNN, you go to MSNBC, you go to Fox News, you go to any of these, you don't find anything, and you really got News Nation seems to be. This is actually, I couldn't even find this interview on YouTube because News Nation is exclusively putting it on their website. So here we are at the News Nation, which I've never heard of News Nation before this story, and they seem to kind of have somewhat of a exclusive rights or access to David Grush. I haven't seen David Grush interview on other websites, just on News Nation, so I don't know what's going on. But again, David Grush testified for 7 or 11 hours on this in front of Congress. So what is
we are?
You think he's telling the truth?
Planes crash, cars crash. Just because you're some advanced sentience that has advanced technology doesn't mean some small percentage of your, I'll use the Air Force term like sorties, meet an unfortunate operational conclusion, as we might want to say.
Most people would tell you the Roswell incident has been thoroughly debunked. In fact, the Air
higher
Force
periodic
published
table
this
than
report
titanium
in
and
1994
NASA
to put
composites.
the issue to rest once and
so
for all.
What is titanium's
Grush has read
periodic number?
That analysis I did was a total hack job. And even anybody with analytical skills, if you read it, you can deduce that they're conflating multiple situations.
That's number 22.
And
so I imagine it's much higher than that.
The townsfolk who personally witnessed it were totally imagining things. They concocted that whole report just to disinform.
So the reason for the secrecy exactly is what?
Why are we keeping the secret?
Dominance who can have both asymmetric technology for, it seems like, just fueling the war machine.
Grush says
so they just want the technology for war.
Encounters with the NHI continued.
I don't know if I buy that.
Did the cover-up. One incident
in
1967, about which multiple Air Force veterans have gone public, involved UAPs tampering with the nuclear missiles at Malmstrom Air Base in Montana. They saw a craft, appearing to be intelligently controlled, hovered over a nuclear weapons silo and shut down
a craft over a nuclear weapons silo.
ICBM missiles.
It certainly looks like they want to understand how far we've advanced in our nuclear fizzle kind of technologies at the very least. I mean, it looks like preparatory probing activity. It might be innocent kind of scientific gathering, could be ISR probing.
Meanwhile,
some type of probing.
Says the crash retrieval program continued. And while he won't reveal where the downed craft are stored, he does say that the people working with the technology have been putting themselves at risk.
A lot of them, were injured looking at some of this stuff. You can imagine the nuclear, radiological, and biological risk to looking at an unknown. And a lot of them have literally suffered physically because of their service.
But as we
so you said an unknown. We know there's a lot of unknown
non-human intelligence is behind these incidents.
So it seems like there is a lot of unknowns.
Or deliberately deceitful.
And to find something known, giving us some evidence. He said that there was bodies. Like let's get pictures, let's get photos, let's get this information out here. You think if there's multiple foreign governments that are in on this, that there would be some other leak,
which is extremely unethical and immoral.
Coming up,
another
new evidence and perhaps
another thing is that there's gradual disclosure. That's one of the theories, that the U.S. government doesn't want to tell us all this information at once. They want to just gradually release it over time.
Its tune.
And it's possible that the U.S. government just does not want to release this information at once, and this is the first of gradual disclosure, and that they're going to get another whistleblower here soon, and then it's just going to slowly trickle out the information until we're all just like, duh, aliens are here. That's possible, but we don't know that for sure.
By fighter pilots from the USS Theodore Roosevelt. There's an industry
exclusive rights
of debunkers
to David
out
Grush.
there on the web who say,
it seems like News Nation has exclusive rights. I'd like to see him interviewed on other podcasts, perhaps Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn's podcast,
experts look at that,
or really anywhere. Other news
saying
CNN, MSNBC, Fox News,
it's certainly
any of that.
It might be.
Then it says faster than light travel seems improbable. Aliens outside our solar system would have to be so advanced and probably think humans are imbeciles.
Now known to history as the Tic Tac.
It does seem improbable
in the Pacific by aviators
but
off the USS
here we are hearing that there are species from other galaxies visiting us.
Physical,
so
that's absolutely
we have to
something that we didn't make.
At least
not of this world.
Most likely, yeah.
Listen.
The videos
see
were
if there's
leaked
any
in
truth
2017,
here.
then officially released by the Pentagon in 2020. At the time, it seemed the Pentagon
So yeah, this is the
have
flying
finally
Tic Tac
abandoned its obsession with
UFO
secrecy and decided to do what other countries have been doing for
which
decades.
I've heard some people trying to
Establish a
debunk
properly funded,
that,
publicly accountable team to investigate.
but it seems like it's still
UAP.
unidentified. We don't know what it
Dave
is.
Grush was part
So there's a
of
lot
that
of these
team.
UFOs that are
for
popping up here. A lot of different
be
evidence.
doing in our backyard that we don't know about.
The task force set about investigating these incidents, including more recent events like the odd encounters that took place during naval exercises in 2019 off the coast of San Diego. This video, shot on the USS
this
Omaha
is off the coast of
and
San
later
Diego.
leaked to documentarian Jeremy Corbell, has received particular attention.
It either zooms off so fast you can't see
Well,
it,
that
or
was
it
interesting.
sinks into the ocean, but it seems to drop.
And again, Jeremy Corbell is a paranormal expert. He's been on the forefront of this UFO, UAP
is a fallacy.
phenomenon.
For starters, he says the videos that have been released are just the tip of the iceberg.
There are many videos that are totally fair to release through a declassification process. And I find it very concerning from a transparency perspective that all that the department has declassified were those 3 famous videos. There are more concerning videos that left me with a lot of questions,
He says there are credible witnesses who could testify to Congress about spacecraft, big spacecraft.
A lot of them were very large, like a football field kind of size. And I remember interviewing these personnel.
Alien spacecrafts that are the size of a football field? How could that be hidden?
This is some
you think that would
crazy but
definitely
true
be
stuff
seen
that's happening, and I have no good explanation that's prosaic at all for this, because this is not explainable by swamp gas, St. Elmo's fire, ball lightning, etc., etc. I mean, this is like tangible technical craft they're seeing up close and personal in some cases when I interview people.
And at the center of it
all right, again, we have no
the
evidence,
crash retrieval
but
program the government
very
has
interesting.
never publicly acknowledged. A program, Grush says, that's included at least one private aerospace company that is storing alien craft. Is that true?
That is how a lot of these relationships are. While I don't want to name the specific companies and government elements, but overall, the government has been the custodian of a lot of this, right? And they'll hand receipt it out to a cleared defense contractor to do some analysis.
So who are these defense contractors?
I find highly unethical. You have basically a sole source arrangement, and you allow certain private corporate elements to look at this, develop a potential insight, and then sell it back to the government for profit. And I think that's totally unethical.
The problem you've got is there have been categorical denials from high-level officials in the US government, even presidents, that what you're saying is true.
Unfortunately, some elected officials were not brought in.
Only a few weeks ago.
So it seems like a lot of people don't even know this information. So it's very secretive if it's true.
Investigations
very few people know about this.
Told Congress, AARO, that's the Pentagon's UFO investigation body, has found no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity, off-world technology, or objects that defy the known laws of physics.
What is that?
While a large number of cases in our holdings remain technically unresolved, this is primarily due to a lack of data associated with those cases.
Was that a lie?
Well, I know Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. I've known him for about 8 years. And, I expressed some concerns to Dr. Kirkpatrick about a year ago, and I told him what I was starting to uncover. And he didn't follow up with me, and he has my phone number. He could have called me. I hope he ultimately does the right thing. He should be able to make the same investigative discoveries I did. It's totally crazy if he doesn't.
So the implication here is that the head of the...
So how do we make these discoveries?
That Congress
I want to be in on the discovery. I think evidence would be good.
The truth about UAPs is possibly misleading the American public. Do you think the American public is being lied to?
Well, they've been lied to over the years, and I'm hoping that the lies stop.
Coming up, it gets even scarier.
It gets scarier. Let's see how much longer we got.
The NHI's...
Let's just skip forward a little bit.
It's a multi-decade Cold War that has been under our nose for so long.
Skip a little bit further.
Exposed to the human race.
Yeah, and I think that is the logical fallacy there is because they're advanced, they're kind. We'll never really understand full intent in that because we're not them, whatever them is or are. But I think what appears to be malevolent activity has happened. based on not
so there has been malevolent activity. Jacob talked earlier about them possibly being hostile.
Witness testimony.
Seems like there is some malevolent activity from these beings.
Lens, it does appear negative, at least to us.
I've been told that there have been attempts to bring down.
Again, for those just following us, we are watching the David Rush 40-minute whistleblower that was released last night. I was looking for it last night, but it was only released on News Nation. I could not find it anywhere else. And I was looking for it last night on YouTube, and I couldn't find it. One of my friends who is totally tied into the UFO phenomenon also couldn't find the link, and then today I found it was only on News Nation. So this seems to be an exclusive story on News Nation. I don't know where everyone gets their news, and I've not been aware of News Nation until this story in particular, but I will be looking out for News Nation because it seems to have a lot of credible news.
And there's more.
And
David
Grush seems to be a stand-up guy, seems to believe what he's saying, has a decorative background.
Rivals have their own
and
retrieval programs, which they are.
But again, he hadn't seen any of this firsthand. He said he saw some classified documents, see some photos, but he hasn't put his eyes on any spaceships, any spacecrafts, or anything of the like.
For so long, and there is no good way to level the playing field and hold other nation states accountable if they're doing unethical or illicit activity as it relates to this subject. And I think the obtuse secrecy is actually putting us in a very dangerous position where
Xi Jinping,
a country might make a breakthrough.
Just B-roll, I guess, of other nations, which makes you wonder, what are foreign nations? If this UFO, UAP phenomenon is so prevalent here on Earth that Russia, China, South America, Brazil, big countries, Brazil, you think that a lot of these governments, exactly. Why haven't?
I think they're in a similar pickle as us, where it's they understand maybe some of the socioeconomic destabilization factors in their own society.
But I think if Russia found out, they would release it right away. I mean,
and at least some of
they're in a war right now.
Why
I think that they would
haven't they
just
destroyed us already? Perhaps some fragile yet combustible detente.
Someone's going to release information. If Switzerland has information, are they not going to release it? France, Germany, some country that has this information. Foreign governments. Let's get it out here. Let's tell the world
between America and non-human intelligences.
Jacob asked, what acronym do I prefer, UFO, UAP? I like UFO. It's the old acronym. It's when I grew up saying UFO, and it kind of means the same thing. Unidentified flying object, unidentified aerial phenomenon. I think a lot of people don't even know what the words aerial and phenomenon mean. I mean, obviously we know aerial is like a flying thing, a phenomenon is a thing that happens.
We do know,
but a flying object is just simple. Any 5-year-old can say, oh, I know what a flying object is. So it just makes a lot of sense to have UFOs. And also having two acronyms that are basically the same thing. I think all UFOs are UAPs, and all UAPs are UFOs. So I can't think of any
Article 3 of that treaty,
like aerial phenomenon. It could be like some gas, right, or like some strange thing. But that's also a flying object. If it's not on the ground, it's in the sky. It's a flying object. I mean, I think swamp grass is
each other if there's a concerning event.
So again, it's simpler. It's the old term that we know so much about. Flying saucer. A lot of people used to like to use that as well.
You could have almost like a false flag where true non-prosaic UAP situation could be contrived as a provocation of something from a nation state, and we want to de-escalate
contrived of a provocation.
If this is true, if the stakes are so high, if the fate of the human race is at stake,
a lot of naval ships.
It's no surprise to hear
showing a lot of B-roll that's not really relating to this topic. I guess foreign governments and military being involved in some alien activity.
Substantive evidence that white-collar crime was committed.
Have people been killed to protect this secret?
Based on the people I talked to, that was an ongoing concern. Yeah, unfortunately, I've heard some really un-American things I don't want to repeat right now.
So you have a strong suspicion that people have been murdered to protect the secret?
Over the years, yeah.
Coming up, a reality check.
Is it possible that you're deluding yourself?
It's time to put our whistleblower's credibility to the test.
All right.
Everybody
so
watching this right now.
Anyone who's not new to the stream, my name's Gabe Matthews. I'm a certified paranormal investigator, founder of the Truth Searchers, Paranormal Investigators, and also run a ghost tour in Greenville, South Carolina. But I'm, out here. I'm trying to stream live, trying to gather a following for my YouTube channel. I'd like to get enough people following my channel to be able to invite guests to come out here and to stream live and have conversations. I want to be able to do this more often and creating an audience, building a YouTube channel. That's what I'm trying to do. I think going live, talking to the people. If you have any questions to ask a paranormal investigator, definitely put it live in the chat. But also just subscribe to the channel. That's really what I'm after. I'm after building a following in order to get the truth out there. David Grush, he believes this. He's telling everyone about it. If you had any paranormal experience, definitely tell everyone. Get out there. If you have a story, hit me up on social media. Gabe TSPI on Twitter. Go to GreenvilleGhostTours.com. I have a lot of links there. You can reach out to me. I'll be happy to get your story out there. I can retweet it. I can talk about it on a live stream on a YouTube video. So just let me know. I investigate, any house calls. If you have any paranormal experience at your house, I'd be happy to come investigate. I'm typically a paranormal investigator. I investigate ghosts, but I'll investigate aliens, cryptids, demons as well.
You're not making this up. This is not a lie.
No, absolutely not.
Says it's not a lie.
Because everybody.
So I guess we got to take your word for it because we don't have evidence.
At your face, they're going, "Is this guy for real?"
I am for real, and I'm sitting here at great personal risk and obvious professional risk by talking to you today.
You've told us that we really are not alone. Even though you believe what you say is true, you haven't been fed disinformation. It's a common thing in intelligence for governments to mislead.
Yeah, I was very sensitive to that fact. Was this some kind of ruse against me? Am I being used in any kind of way? And I took about 4 years being very methodical before I filed my whistleblower complaint.
Yeah, hopefully it's not just in this to make some money, write a book, get
publicity.
publicity.
Take me through the process of how you convinced yourself that this is real.
Based on the credentialed people that came to me, some of these subjects provided me sensitive foreign intelligence to read, sensitive program documents and photographs to evaluate, and then
again, classified documents. So I'm sure if he has this, then our presidents, I imagine, would have this information. So
extremely specific details.
Joe Biden, Donald Trump, who obviously had a lot of classified documents. Might know this.
The other thing I have trouble with,
if this is true, I ask these presidents or ex-presidents to come out
to
tell people about this, like David Grush is doing. We want more people to come out.
Why hasn't this leaked?
Well, I've certainly been the recipient of a lot of U.S. government secrets, and I can tell you they've never seen the light of day.
Yeah, I mean, Roswell was what year? I feel like that was the 60s, so this has been going on for 60-some years.
But it was a very sophisticated disinformation campaign where, they have allowed some of the truth to come out.
Was this a government project? Was it a U.S. government project? Was it a national foreign government project? What if a foreign government came up with a technology that seemed alien and then sent it to another country and even maybe put alien beings inside of the spaceship to crash? What if it came from earthly origin but seems to be extraterrestrial? It could be, faked.
This document.
Is that possible?
Remember that whistleblower complaint he filed?
They also like to use the word non-human. Non-human could also be just an animal. Is a foreign government putting in monkeys or some genetically modified beings inside of a craft? could this be China being, much more technically superior to us, creating a flying ship, spacecraft of sorts, and just flying it to the U.S. airspace and crashing it? We know that the Chinese sent that spy balloon. I mean, why not send, advanced technologies to the U.S. just to kind of be like, nah, in your face?
Then
we don't know.
What are we going to do if the biggest secret on the planet is now out in the open? And what are they going to do?
How will the non-human intelligence react?
Again, kind of interesting stuff. I think we could have probably made this much shorter. There's only a few minutes left of this news clip. Hopefully it'll end with a big bang.
Constitutional crises for your country.
So Ross Coulthard, I'm curious what else he has covered. I've never heard of him before this.
There are very good
I heard that he's kind of an alien journalist, but he doesn't seem to be like
the US government,
investigating other journalism.
Army of people that want change. I am one of tens, if not hundreds, of individuals within the government on these programs that would like a change.
What kind of change does David Grush want? As he's said here tonight, he wants the NHI technology to be shared so the rest of the world can benefit from it.
And I use nuclear weapons or nuclear physics as an example. It's an acknowledged program. We have nuclear weapons. So you don't get to know the designs, but nuclear physics holistically is unclassified. Academia studies it. And why would you suppress basic astrophysics, astrobiology, other hard and soft sciences broadly? It's totally nuts.
Grush has left the government. He wasn't part of ARROW during the most recent congressional hearings when still more UAP were revealed, including this one captured by a drone in the Middle East in 2022.
There it goes.
His whistleblower case will take months to conclude. In the meantime, he says he's starting a scientific foundation. And he's willing to speak to anyone in Washington who has the clearance and the desire to hear the classified information he could not share here.
I make myself available to Secretary Austin, DNI Haynes, who was a recipient of my complaints. I'm happy to further brief elected officials on the specific ecosystem of secrecy down to the fine details.
Whoever they are. How will the non-human intelligence react to the revelation that human beings now know they're here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the non-human intelligences have been around for a while, at least multiple decades in modern history, and they've allowed ourselves to annihilate ourselves, genocide, war, famine, etc. So at the very least, I think they're kind of neutral on what humans decide to do with their free will.
And as for how we, the human race, will react to his story, here Grush evinces that quintessentially human characteristic: optimism.
I don't have this utopian ideology that this is going to, solve world problems, stop war entirely. But all I want is a moment of pause and to see if the subject unites us, as we've obviously become more divided over the last couple of decades.
Because, if anything else, what you're revealing may mean we all start thinking of ourselves not as American, Australian, Russian, Chinese, but as human.
Human family. I think that's totally the right term, yeah.
All right, it appears that is the end of the clip. I don't know if we learned too much extra.
Running a business comes with pressure from our workforces.
But it is rather interesting. There's a couple things he said that I want to research further. Some of it was kind of going over my head. Seemed to be science fiction. But if it's science reality, we need evidence of that. He was talking about fourth and fifth dimensional beings and elements that are, really high on the periodic table, high isotopes. He also at the end was talking about, aliens uniting us, which is a theory that I've heard many times, that if aliens kind of came down to outer space, that we would kind of be more united, and we as a whole seem to be more divided currently than we've ever been. So I think having a catalyst to unite us, but Having said that, I don't know if I believe that theory. I feel like it would just come in the news cycle, aliens would exist, and then we'd go right back to our normal behaviors, and then we'd still remain divided as more than ever. I don't really know the answer to being closer together as people, but it probably has to do with our government, because it seems to be dividing us more and more by the day. But this could just be the start. David Grush came out. If this is true, if he believes it, I applaud him for telling us the truth, and I applaud him for taking the risk to come out. And if there is some gradual disclosure, then I imagine that we'll hear from more people soon on this information. We'll hear from other foreign governments. He said that he'll talk to people within our government that don't know about this. So it'll be very interesting to see what comes of this. This could just be the start. So I've been reading a lot about Alien. I've been getting back into reading about Roswell and, Area 51, a lot of previous things. I just watched the James C. Fox documentary, Moment of Contact, about an alien that crashed in Brazil. Very fascinating stuff. So that's, again, this doesn't just happen in America. This happens all over the world. So I'd like to hear from more of those, because, a lot of times you only hear about, American UFOs. But yeah, it would only make sense that these are happening all over the world, and it seems like they've been happening for decades and upon decades, and possibly from our whole existence. But yeah, if this alien technology is so advanced, why are they crashing? Why are they not more hidden? There's so many more questions, not many answers. But yeah, the alien phenomenon is something that I'm very passionate about as a paranormal investigator. And again, I just wanted to go live because this is the biggest news story of possibly all of our lifetime, if it's true that there's aliens that are here on Earth crashing, all the time. So that's, something that's worth talking about. And if it is true, we need to be talking about it. But if it's not true, then, it's bogus, and I don't know what's going on. But it seems to be we know all these alien abduction stories that happened way back, Benny and Barney Hill, Thomas Walton, you name it. There's been a lot of alien abduction stories. Where's the modern day alien abduction story? If you know of one, hit me up, Gabe TSPI on Twitter. You can find me, online. I've been looking. Drop me a message in the comments on here on YouTube. Get to the bottom of it. But other than that, as far as paranormal this week, I was very excited that Ghost Stop announced that they're bringing back the Ovilus, which is a nice paranormal ghost hunting gear that I've enjoyed. Let me share my screen. So this is the Ovilus. This is the Ovilus 3, which they don't have anymore, but this is the Ovilus 5. They sell it for $600. I was going to pick one up, but it is sold out, so I did have to click notify me when available. But I'm hoping to get an Ovilus. I have used one in the back. I've not used this model. I used an older version, which they sell for lots of money on eBay. I would like to see them upgrade this port here to USB-C. Get kind of a little more modern. I don't know. Maybe they'll do that on the Ovilus 6. And again, this is from Digital Dowsing. The Bill Chappell invented the Ovilus, and again, this uses environmental temperature, EMF. I don't know. I'd have to go look, but it uses all the environment to kind of, to have ghostly entities be able to interact with the device, to display words, but it also has many other features. There's a lot of little apps on here. You have words, you have like log. It looks like, is that Wi-Fi? I wonder if you can connect to Wi-Fi. Again, I have not used the Ovilus 5, but I am very interested in getting this device, and I did click notify me when available. So hopefully I will be able to buy this, for the cheap price of about $600. Again, just a small price to investigate the paranormal. I don't know what this is. I wonder if it has games. I could see going on here and like playing Brick, like the Brick game. That was always one of my favorites, where you have like the brick at the bottom, and then the ball kind of goes, and you can get the different ones and destroy all the bricks as it like goes up and kills the bricks. But then also like you get like the power ups, and sometimes you can have multiple like bumpers, and then sometimes you have like bombs or balls. So that'd be cool. I wonder if you can get an Ovilus that has Brick on there, so we could go paranormal investigating, and then when there's no ghosts appearing or giving evidence, you can play the Brick game, or whatever, Pong or something. If you connect to Wi-Fi, you could probably play games with friends. Which way back I used to play Words with Friends, or chess. I'm sure you could get, this screen to be playing chess. So it'd be cool to do that. I don't know if Bill Chappell or anyone at Ghost Stop could maybe write to them and say, let's see if I can just do a Control F games. No, it doesn't say anything about games. So I'm not sure if there's any games on the Ovilus 5, but maybe the Ovilus 6 or 7 could have that. Let's see. Jacob says, have you noticed a decrease in UFO UAP sightings since the invention of the camera phone? I think it's went up. I think we've been seeing more and more, but maybe the same. I'd like to see the data on that, if anyone has data. Or again, I'm hoping in a future stream have an expert on here that can actually talk about some of this stuff. But yeah, I can do my research and check to see over time, has there been more UFO UAPs now versus in the 60s or whatever? It makes you wonder when the first reported UFO sighting. I know the first alien abduction, I believe, was in the 70s, which I believe was Benny and Barney Hill. But, if you go back and watch all those shows on TV, like The Twilight Zone or what's the Outer Limits, I don't know what years those were, but it seems like there was a lot of stuff. Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction was always a favorite of mine, or Unsolved Mysteries. Let's see. Dennis says, seems like one country somewhere would publicize some evidence. Yes, I agree. I would think that this could not be kept secret. We can't keep anything secret. Why are we all of a sudden able to keep UFOs secret, especially for decades? Like 5-6 decades. How has... If multiple governments truly know about this, how are we able to keep that secret? That's a good question. And other than that, last thing, Ghostbusters Day happened this week, and I was really hoping that they'd release the name of the new movie, but it seems that they have not. But they did release this little teaser photo. Let's see. And then they had some stuff on Instagram. So let's see. Ghostbusters cast.
Here from Ghost
So there's
today,
all the different cast members.
It kicks off with a brand new video straight from Columbia Pictures Ghost Corps, as they've got the cast of the day.
So Paul Rudd's back.
Ghostbusters Day.
A bunch of all the kids are back. Dan Aykroyd's back. Janine's back.
Original stars Dan Foster's.
So yeah, we'll be on the lookout. Hopefully, we'll get a trailer, get a name of the book soon. But it didn't seem like anything really happened on Ghostbusters Day. But very interesting stuff. But yeah, I believe aliens are out there. Lots of evidence. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I don't know if we got many new people in here. I'm hoping to get subscribers. That's really what it's about, is trying to grow this so that I can, if you like this, I can go live more often. And the more people that tune in to watch, the more I'd be inclined to go live. And I hope to do this more often and bring on some guests to talk about the paranormal, talk anything paranormal. And again, if you have any evidence of any paranormal activity or anything alien related, ghost related, give me a shout. But yes, Gabe Matthews, thanks for watching. And remember, the truth is paranormal. Be a searcher.